We've been in Gunala for 1 month, and after 6 weeks in the boatyard, it feels like a vacation. We loved exploring the different islands and meeting the Guna people.
Okay, pulling up anchor, and we're gonna head up to the Lemon Keys. Hopefully do some snorkeling. We're up. The town's back here interesting, but we want to go back to some clear water. So now we're beating to windward up to the Lemon Keys. What are you doing up there?
Crew work!
So, an unsettling realization today, our bilge pump kept going off. And we got trying to figure out where it's coming from. So Norm's gonna taste
salt.
it. It's salt?
Yes, so it's coming from the ocean.
That's not good. Pumped out the bilge and blocked both of these inlet holes on either side and waited, and some water did seep back in. We believe it's coming through the keel bolts. We had our keel bolts tightened in Shelter Bay when we were on the hard. So the keel was supported with blocks when they tightened it, and they tightened to the manufacturer's specs. But now we're pretty concerned. It seems like when we're sailing and heeling over, so when we're going upwind and the boat heels, we seem to be getting quite a bit more water in. That may be due to pressure on the keel, moves the keel slightly and lets some of the water up through the keel bolts. It wasn't anything that our bilge pump couldn't keep up with, but I think our bilge pump went off about every hour, which is unusual for our boat.
We jumped in the water to check the bottom of our boat and made some discoveries.
It's been about a month since we had it painted at Shelter Bay, and the paint looked pretty good. There were a few barnacles that I saw.
Yeah,
I've
heard paint, not supposed to barnacle up, and I've also heard, occasional. I think some good news is that they just slid right off when you pop them off, but I'm a little disturbed that we do have some barnacle growth. But,
yeah.
Other than that, it was just some slimy growth, which wiped right off, which, fingers crossed, is pretty good.
That's expected though, right?
I think so.
A light layer of slime.
Yeah.
What I didn't like though was that there is rust showing through on the keel seam, where the yard, I think they epoxied it, or...
Yep. So the repair was supposed to be, they had to, when they fixed the smile and the keel, they were supposed to sand the rust off and then seal it and then cover that up with epoxy to make it smooth, and then the primer and paint go directly on that. I don't know if that's all the steps that went into it, because we were getting rust spots showing through on both sides of the gap between the keel and the hull. We paid to have the rust line fixed and sealed.
Yeah.
So to have it come back in a month,
it can't be sealed.
Yeah,
properly.
It's not done correctly.
Yeah.
So we have to have a discussion with the boatyard at Shelter Bay to figure out A, what they did, and B, what they're going to do to correct the problem.
The rudder looks like it's kind of far away from the hull,
Yes.
which reduces the efficiency of the rudder. So
they'll when we get back to Shelter Bay, they'll have to close that up and make sure that that's fixed. But that, it doesn't seem like a difficult problem, but it's a problem nonetheless. So
yeah, we've come to the realization that these were not the only keel bolts. That there's additional keel bolts that are under our holding tank that were not tightened when we had the yard to tighten our keel bolts. We're trying to figure out if we can how we can get to these keel bolts, or if we have to remove the entire holding tank to get to the keel bolts, because they're probably right under here.
And when we say holding tank, we mean shit holding tank.
So we've had quite a bit of communication back and forth with the boat manufacturer as well as another boat builder. And what we think the problem is that Boatyard did not tighten all of the keel bolts. In addition to that, they repaired the keel seam first and then tightened the keel bolts, which is not the recommended process. So we don't know for sure if the unevenly tightened keel bolts is what's causing the leak. Worst case is that also the bedding got crushed, the bedding between the keel and the hull, that may have gotten crushed, which would mean we'd have to drop the keel and re-bed the keel, which that would probably take a while and cost a lot of money. So what we're going to do though is the yard is going to haul us out, so we're going to head back to Shelter Bay. Despite these problems, we still wanted to enjoy a few more days in these beautiful islands. So we anchored in the Lemon Keys off of an island called Nugnadub. So we're anchored in the middle of about 4 or 5 small islands, all behind a reef. We've got a couple of good snorkel spots here. One of them's a wreck, 1950s cargo ship, and we always love snorkeling a wreck. Those are always really interesting. And there's also a snorkel spot right behind us. It's a reef with a drop-off, so that should be pretty interesting as well. All right, we're gonna go snorkel a wreck.
So this is our snorkel spot for the afternoon. So one of my rules is about anchoring, and the best sailors take the longest time to find a place to anchor, and they prepare for it. The following is an example of what not to do.
So we told these people they were anchoring too close. now they're even closer. Anchoring craziness today. This anchorage was empty 2 days ago. And now it's like packed. We started readying the boat to sail back to Shelter Bay when disaster struck again. So we just got an error on our generator.
And there's oil dripping.
Oh my God. Oh, I see the oil dripping under here.
Yep.
Shit.
So we're gonna need to take this thing off and see where it's dripping. Something definitely exploded.
Oof. This is not good.
That's a lot of oil.
That's a lot of oil.
The bad news is that there's an oil line right here that runs up to this thing, which is going to be the oil pressure line that connects right here to where the oil pan is. This is where the oil pan is, right there. And it's this line. I don't know if you can see, there's a copper colored ring. That's what broke. And I have no idea how we would even replace that part.
So it's this end here that broke, right?
Yep, right there. I don't know if you want a little light on it, but there you go.
Oh man. Alright, well, as Norm tries to remove the other side of the sump pump, I contacted some Master Volt distributors in the US. There's none in Central America. And we'll see if we can find a replacement part. So tomorrow we are off to Linton Bay. Looks like we're heading back to the marina at Shelter Bay just in time. After spending 6 weeks in the boatyard, the San Blas Islands have been like a vacation for us. But now it's time to get back to work.